Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi for WordPress theme tutorial. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, in our last video we did this sort of back to the top button, custom one that stays there all the time after somebody requested this one. That kind of gave me an idea. What about having a little sort of slide in hidden div that when you hover over it, it slides in like that? And you can have a message or special of the day or send people to various places. You can obviously link this content to whatever you want, but it stays there like just like that back to the top button. It'll stay in position when we slide down the site. So let's get started. Pretty easy to do. We've got to use a bit of custom CSS, but don't worry about that. I'm going to put any CSS that I write down below the video today, and you're welcome to use it if you wish. So let's get started. First thing I need to do is enable the visual builder so we can build on the front end. I'm going to go back to my custom CSS here and I'll delete this CSS. And save the changes. And let's go in and delete that little section that I created there. So I've got the visual builder enabled here. Of course, I'm using the fantastic Divi theme for this. If you want to take it for a test drive, you can do so from my affiliate link below this video. So I'm going to click on the purple button. I'm going to go to wireframe mode because I know that's the last section that I created. So it'll be right on the bottom here. Right there. So I'm going to trash that one. Okay. In fact, I'm going to trash it back to the top button as well. So let's get rid of both of those. Let's go back to our normal desktop display here. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to create a new section, a little bit like we did with the back to the top in our last video. Hit the little orange button because it's a specialist section. Usually that's a blue button. I'm going to create a regular section. I'm going to have one column, one row. And inside that, I'm going to put a blurb. You can put anything you want inside this. I'm just going to happen to be using a blurb because I want to use the icon to pull it in from the right hand side. Okay, so I've not got any content. I'm just going to say big sale or something like that in the title there. I'm not going to do anything else to this for the moment. Image and icon. Well, at the moment they've got an image there. I want to use an icon. Use icon. And of course I want an icon that sort of says move out from the side. And we could use something like that, or I think I used... Of course it doesn't really matter which icon you use. Let's select that one right there. As you can see, it's put that icon in there. Now what we'll do, we'll style this up before we go ahead and sort of move it where we want to move it. Because once we moved it over there, we're not going to be able to see it. So let's do this. I want to go to Design tab. I'm in the blurb settings right here. Now what do I want to do? Image and icon. I want that icon to be on the left hand side. So on the image and icon on our design tab, let's select left instead of top. There we go. And I want it to be a little bit bigger than that. So let's use icon font size. And we'll just let it a little bit too big. Something like that. That's fine. And I want it to be a little bit see-through. So let's go into our color, icon color just above here, and pull down this right-hand slider and make it a little bit opaque so that when it's sliding up over things, you can still see the content below it, but you can see this icon right here. So that's good. That's fine. Now what I want to do, I want to make the background behind the writing here, the sale and the contents here, I want to make that blue So when it pulls out, you can see it, because at the moment, if it's over, you know, there's no background color in there, you're not going to see that over every color. I want to make sure you can, but I don't want to cover our icon here. Now, unfortunately, we've got to do a bit of custom CSS, because although they've got space for the title, if I do the content there, that's going to be the whole thing, and I just don't want that. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to save our changes. I'm going to save the page changes. I'm going to exit the Visual Builder. Go down to where I was. Now I'm using Google Chrome here, the browser, because it's great inspector tools. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit inspect on the title there. And as you can see over here, if you've got the elements tab, you've got HTML. If you've got the styles tab, you've got CSS over here. So that over here I've got ETPB module header, and you can see that's just doing the header there. And just below you've got the description, that's just doing the description. So I'm going to add a little bit of code to this, the module header. I'm just going to click on that, and then in the empty box up here, left click. I'm going to say background. I'll just say blue. I'll change it to the blue that we've been using in a moment, but I'm just going to get a basic blue for the time being. That's fine, but I'm going to want to make that text light. I can do that within the module, but it's buffered right up against it, so I'm going to give it a little bit of padding. So I'm going to say padding, colon, and let's say just 10 pixels. And because I've just given it one entry there, that means 10 pixels all round, top, bottom, left and right. So I'm just going to copy this piece of code, background and padding. I'm going to put it into a blank notepad because I'm going to want to use it in a moment. Now I'm going to go with the HTML. I'm going to double left click on where it says module header, because that's a class. So that means we can target this header. But I want to make this unique, so we're only targeting this one, so it won't affect every Blurb module on there. So I'm going to double click, left click, copy ETPB module header. I'll put that in my little thing. I'll put this all together in a moment. And I'm going to want to do the same for the description, which is down below. There it is. So I want to copy this one also. And I'll drop down and I'll compile this. So there's our main one, and there's our description, our header. Now I'm going to give our actual module, so I can close this out, and let's go back into our Visual Builder. Let's go down to our module, and I'm going to give it a unique CSS class. So I go over to the Advanced tab, CSS IDs and classes, and I'm going to give it the class of side blurb. So I'm going to say sblb. You can call yours what you want, just make sure you remember what you call it. And just save that. And the reason I gave it that is so we can target these things individually. So it was a class, so it's dot side blurb sblb. And this next one, ETPB, that was a class as well, so we need a dot in front of there. Now to target that, we need to open and close some curly brackets. And inside those curly brackets, we'll just make a piece of space. We need to paste this CSS code. I'll just tidy that up. And I'll copy from the top black bracket to the bottom bracket. And I'll paste it after this one. And of course I also need to put in our CSS class and the dot in front of this down here, so Control C. Like I say, I'll put this CSS below the video, so don't worry too much about copying it here. Okay, let's just delete this. So we've got our code that we want to put in there. Let's just copy this. Control C. And we'll go back to our theme options and I'll paste the code in. I put a little title in there, /* title * / so it gets commented out if you want to do that. And let's paste that in there, save our changes. Okay, go back. We can do a refresh. I know we've not made any changes here. We will reload it. Okay, that's great. Well, let's put that blue color in behind our title and our background there. Let's just put in what we want there, and we'll adjust this blue to a similar blue to that one. Let's go back into our blurb here. I'm going to add an image. Let's chuck an image inside here. I think I just used that car last time. And of course, to make this image or anything else linked to anything, just select it and hit your link icon there and insert the link that you want to link it to. Okay, so let's go to our design tab. And I think I want to make my text light and have everything central here. So let's do that. I'm going to go into text. I'm going to hit the central there. I'm going to put my image to text color to light. Let's get that image in the middle as well. Let's go to our content a minute. Into the text. And I want that one to be in the middle as well. So let's pop that one there. There we go. Fantastic. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to limit this actual section to a certain size. Then we'll scoot it over to where we want it. So let's save our blurb. We could actually just move it like that, but I don't think that's going to do what I want. This section, let's go inside. We're going to go to design. We're going to go to size. And let's give it a width of I'm guessing sort of 500 pixels. So I'm just going to put 500 in there. And that's better. That's made it a little more concise. You can still see everything fine. Now then, what we want to do is position this over here so that when it's in position, all you can see is the icon there, so it's hidden. And then when you hover over it, it's going to pop it out. So let's do that with a bit of Custom CSS. Let's go into our Custom CSS. And for the main element, and you might see it disappear when I do this, I'm going to say position fixed. Now because it's going to disappear, it might be behind something. I'm going to give it a huge Z index so we can see it wherever it is. So I'm going to say Z index, and I'm going to give it sort of 4, 5, 6, 9, something like that. So it'll pop up where we want it. Now where actually do I want it? I want it to be, I don't know, 300 pixels or so from the bottom. So I'll say bottom 300 pixels. And as you can see, it's popped up to 300 pixels above the bottom there. Now I want it to be on the right hand side. So let's put it to right 0 and see what that does first. And my Z index I have spelt wrong, that's why I'm getting that INDEX. That's better. So it's going to stay on top there. Now let's say right 0. So we've got it on our right hand side here. Now there's a background color on our section obviously here. So let's just put a semicolon in here. Let's go to our content, background. Now it says there isn't, but if I click on it, let's bring this slider down, the opacity or see-through slider down. There we go. Now we can see that background's disappeared, so that's fine. So we want it to be further over this way, so it's hidden, and then when you hover over it, we want to be able to see it. So let's go into our design, to our spacing, and with our margins, let's say right, and we'll give it a minus so it pulls it to the right. So let's try 300, minus 300. Not quite enough. 400. It's probably going to be too much. A little too much. So about 380, something like that. That's good. That's fine, because we can just see that, but we can't see the content. Now, when we hover over it, we want it to be visible. So let's go up to margin right here. Just hover over the word margin. You'll see the icons appear. Let's hit the little arrow and go over to the hover state. This is the regular state. This is the hover state. And let's put 0 in there. So when we're hovering it, it's going to pop over here. So I think that's going to work fine. Let's save our changes. The only other thing I want to do is just get a color and change that background in our custom CSS. So let's have a look. I'll just go to my background here and have a look at this blue color. I want to take that away, obviously. Control C to copy that hex code. Get out of there. Trash that, make sure it's not there anymore, and it looks like that white's come back. So let's take the opacity all the way down, make sure it's not there. Save our changes here. We'll save our changes on the page as well. While that's saving, I'm going to go to my custom CSS where we put it just now. Down in Divi, theme options, we're on the general tab. This custom CSS box is down the bottom of there. I'm just going to put that hex code in instead of that blue color there. Save my changes until I get the check mark. There we go. Let's go back to our site. Everything should have been saved. Let's exit the Visual Builder. And there it is. And when we hover over it, it pops out just like that. So it's not too intrusive. It's not in the way, but if somebody wants to see what's going on, they can just hover over it. As I say, you can make the image or text link to something if you want to sell them a product, or you can put a button in there if you wanted to. Easy as that. Nice little feature though. Pretty easy to do. Like I say, I'll put that custom CSS below the video for you to use. So I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful. If you have, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you're interested in web development, have a look down below. We've got some great free courses down there, as well as some premium courses with some huge discounts for our YouTube subscribers. So do check it out. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.